I love Final Fantasy VI. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. I love its soundtrack, the story, and of course, the characters. I love them so much that I suddenly thought to myself, I wonder how these characters I love so much would die.
You what?
Listen, I was at work and while I was having an existential crisis, I heard my ringtone and went, I wonder how these characters would die in the world of Ruin. Don't ask why. I looked up on YouTube if anyone has ever made a video like this and noticed that no one has done it yet. Keyword is yet. So in the very rare case you wonder how these characters would die in the world of Ruin, ta-da! Of course, spoilers for this game if you haven't played it yet, or if you haven't reached the world of Ruin. With that in mind, let's see how each playable main character would die in the world of Ruin. A little context before we start. In the very rare case you don't know what happens at the end of the first half game, or you need a quick refresher. The heroes go to a floating continent to defeat the main villain and save the world. Sadly, we failed, and the world got destroyed by the Warring Triad. This is where the main themes of the game come in. Hope, self-discovery, and redemption. We reunite every character one by one and go off to defeat the tyrant Kefka. Once he's defeated, magic disappears and we live happily ever after. Kind of. I mean, there's still rebuilding to do. That is a disgustingly oversimplified version of the story, but since I already made a video on it, I won't talk about it. So yeah, now that we have an idea of how this game ends, how about we take these characters' happy ending and completely fuck them over? Let's see how each of the main playable characters would die. Of course, some are more obvious than others, but the only thing that matters is that everyone dies. Wait, what? And of course, let's start with our main character, Terra Branford. Through the story, Terra has always been about searching one thing in her life: love. And eventually, she does find it when she protects the children of Mobliz, acting like a mother figure for them. To the point, she'd happily die for them. Well, Terra honey, since this video is about death, you'll be the first one to die. Let's say Celes isn't here to save Terra. Evidently, she'll bravely fight Humbaba, but it'll prove to be futile. As she fights it, she's brutally injured, and not long after, she dies from her wounds, leaving the children of Mobliz without a mother. Again. Evidently, having Humbaba terrorize the village and killing every last inhabitant of the place. Two things. Kind of crazy how important Celes is for the story, right? Without her, there's this whole domino effect that changes these characters' fates. Damn shame. Terra, yeah, she dies, the children die, and that one couple dies as well. Yeah, this video is gonna be a lot darker than I thought. But hey, speaking of fate, let's see how the treasure hunter that always tried to defy it dies. Locke Cole. Locke's story is one of moving forward and continuing to live life. His character is messy and tragic, but he evidently manages to move on and be the man he is now. But let's say he never moves on from Rachel. It's told to us that Locke is at the Phoenix Cave, looking for the Phoenix and try to revive Rachel. To the point, it becomes an obsession. He's lost everything. If he dies on this journey, then he has nothing to lose. so why not risk his life for it? That'll end up being the death of him. There's multiple ways he could potentially die, and none of them is a pretty sight. I like to believe that if he were to die there, it'd be either by fighting against monsters or by encountering the dragon of the cave. As he tries to escape, he could potentially get stuck on the rubble, not being able to escape, dying alone and in the dark. Not only without having the final goodbye with Rachel, but never truly being able to move on or be free from his past sins, never putting her soul to rest. So yeah, that's one of the ways he could die. Evidently, I chose the bleakest option because I'm a cold-hearted bitch. Yeah, we should probably move on, right? God, I feel terrible imagining their deaths. Celeste Cher. Oh, my beloved Celeste. It pains my heart to say that realistically, she's the first one to die. The main themes about hope really start after Celeste attempts to take her own life. You could argue she's the most important character in the game, but the themes wouldn't hit as hard if we never saw her at her lowest low first. I see two ways she could potentially die, and both break my heart. She either jumps from the top of the cliff and doesn't make it, dying on impact. But since we know that she makes it, there's other ways she'll take her life. She either swims far off the island and drowns herself, or on the other hand, she starves to death in a state of hopelessness and sadness. And we know what that means. A lot of things happen if she dies. All of those include the death of a character. Without her, there's no Falcon, meaning that no one gets to see each other again. It's sad, it's brutal, but ultimately real. Edgar, Ronnie, Figaro. Edgar's character goes well with the themes of camaraderie and connection. He's the first character that Celeste canonically finds in the world of Ruin. You know, if we're not counting optional stuff. And he's adopted this new character, Gerard. How'd he die? This one is pretty simple. Remember how Edgar fights against the yellow tentacles inside the castle? Now that he's fully alone and without his brother or a friend by his side, he battles the monster alone, eventually trying and failing to survive, killed and found by his men. A complete mess. Edgar, the once proud and noble king of Figaro, who lived and fought for his people and kingdom, dies in that same castle he once grew up in, alone. Even if he did not act like the king of Figaro on his final moments, he fought like one, getting some of his pride back right before he died. I'd say Edgar has the most noble death out of everyone. Tragic, of course, but noble. It's not heroic, but it lives up to the status of a king. Good night, sweet prince. Man, it's such a shame you were a pet of Sabin, Renee, Figaro. My favorite character in the game, no contest. The man is a beast in gameplay. Like, the guy can suplex a train like it's nothing. I don't see Cloud doing that shit. Same as Edgar, Sabin goes well with the themes of camaraderie. Not only with him having a brotherly role with Gao, but also his companionship with Cyan. Don't tell anyone that Square Enix told me this, but they're lovers. But you didn't hear it from me. And of course, his relationship with Edgar. I'd say his death, while sad, doesn't have major consequences in the village he's in. He holds a collapsing house over his head while someone tries to save the kid that is inside the house. Sadly, the house would fall on top of him, not only killing him instantly, but also the kid inside the house. Damn. But at the very least, Sabin is recognized as a hero by the community and is remembered for his attempts to save that child. Even in death, he inspires the people to look inside of oneself and find that inner strength in ourselves. And indirectly, maybe continue the monk cycle. Maybe I'm somewhat glazing and glorifying his death, but not every character needs to be sad. Some can inspire, and I feel like that goes so well with Sabin. But yeah, not everyone can leave a legacy like that. Like our friend, Cyan Garamonde. Cyan's character is identical to Locke's. They both lose and they both must learn how to move on from it. The biggest difference is how they cope with it. While Locke's way of coping was to find a way to revive Rachel, Cyan doesn't get to cope. The moment he loses his family and kingdom, he's thrown on crazy adventures with Sabin and Gao. Just like Locke, Cyan is connected to the themes of moving forward after a tragedy. The way we help Cyan on his adventure is by entering a dream world and fighting against the Three Stooges. Oh no, sorry, my bad. The Dream Stooges. Yeah, come on, Square Enix, you are not fooling anyone. However, with no one around to help him, he's now in a state of coma, reunited with his family and comrades who died when the kingdom of Doma was poisoned. While internally, he's living his dream. Externally, he's rotting in place, in an eternal sleep, passing away peacefully and happy. He may know it's an illusion, he may not, but he doesn't care, because he has his family by his side. That sounds like a beautiful way to go, but realistically, it's horrible. Not only do you never move on from the past, but you live your final moments living a lie. A beautiful lie, mind you, but still a lie nonetheless. I did not expect Cyan's death to be this heavy, but it fits so well for one of the most tragic characters in the game. Rest easy, sexy mustache man. Gao. Oh, Gao. You were never one of my favorite characters in the game, but that doesn't mean I want you to die. How Gao would die is tragic, but fitting for his character. The kid was always one with the wilderness, adapting to survive, fighting against any and all monsters that may come in his way. Maybe eat them if possible. Gao may fall while fighting a monster for survival, but at the very least he'll become one with nature and be part of the circle of life. Yeah, sorry if this one was short. Gao was never one of the most interesting characters to talk about because, well, I just don't find him interesting unless he's with either Cyan or Sabin. Sorry, Gao. It's nothing personal.
It's just business. Lord business.
Setzer Gaviani. The most unpredictable character in the game for sure. And that goes perfectly for him. Setzer is such an integral part of the story alongside Celes. Without him, there's no Falcon. And with no Falcon, there's no searching for friends. In the world of Ruin, Setzer mostly drinks his life away, getting drunk and drunkenly walk towards the Falcon, remembering his time with his fallen friend Daryl. How would he die? I feel like after he gets extremely drunk, he makes a promise to himself that he'll take on Kefka and fly the Falcon towards the tower in a suicide mission. He's never felt more alive in his life. But on his drunken journey to fight Kefka, he loses control and crashes the Falcon, killing him instantly. And in a way, Daryl also dying with him. It's an unnecessary death, one that could be prevented, but when you combine the guilt of losing and failing to save the world with a lot of drinking, it can only end in disaster. There's a possibility that he could have also crashed in a nearby village, destroying it in an instant, making his stupid decision all the more stupid and reckless. Setzer lived a bad life, and it will be his own skills with the ship that would end up killing him, the way his once dear friend died. Shadow. So, funny thing. Canonically, Shadow can have two deaths. One if he doesn't escape the floating continent by the end of the first half of the game, and one where he stays behind at the end of the game. You think adding a third possible death will be overkill, and you're right! So I'm adding two possible deaths in the world of Ruin.
But why?
I am such an asshole. So one of the possible ways he could die is when he's alone inside the cave with his dog Interceptor. How he died is a mystery, but one thing is for sure, he'd most likely die with Interceptor by his side, being consoled as he passes away. Maybe thinking of his partner or his daughter. Or he could die in the Coliseum fighting against monsters for entertaining. Since he doesn't have a real reason to keep going, might as well go by doing the one thing you're good at, and that's fighting, right? He most likely dies due to his injuries while fighting a monster, recognized as a badass by some, but at the end of the day, a form of entertainment. Either way, his death is caused because of him being a deadbeat father. Obviously, I'm kidding. I love Shadow, so don't take this to heart. Please. Relm Irony. God, this one's hurt as well. It's Relm! I can't do that to sweet Relm. This one was hard to say until I looked at the footage. It wasn't hard at all. She'd probably die by painting in Ouser's mansion, but considering how overpowered she is, there's a high chance that she can survive and stay at Jador. Maybe live a normal life. Congratulations, Relm. You may or may not get to live in this video. This one, I'll leave it to you if she dies or if she lives. Someone had to survive this video, right? Strago Magus. You know, despite me finding the idea of Strago joining a Kefka cult funny, I can't help but think of everything the old man's been through. This funny thing isn't that funny anymore. Taking consideration that in Strago's mind, he failed to save the world. And not only that, but he lost the only family he had, Relm. So he goes insane and joins a Kefka cult. The same tyrant that in his mind killed his only family. Strago's mind would be broken and with no purpose in his life. Waits until either Kefka does him in or his old age finish him off. It's surprisingly tragic for a goofy character like Strago. The worst part is that his death wouldn't mean anything. He'd just be yet another bug in Kefka's way. It's a sad way to go. And here we have the goofy characters. Mog. I don't know. I don't see a particular way he could die. Maybe with him being the last of his kind, that could have him be somewhat heartbroken, but considering how he acts in the World of Ruin with Umaro, hard to say. I was gonna go with an out-of-character response and say he danced till he died, but ultimately, I think the people at Narch would get desperate for food, so they hunt him down until they got him. Yeah, he dies to become food. It isn't the worst way to go, I suppose. And speaking of food, Umaro. Yeah, just like Mog, he ended up being food. But considering how strong he is, it'll take a while to take down a beast like him. So stand proud, Umaro. They fought hard to keep you down. And the last one, Gogo. He died in the Stone Eater's belly alone, with no one to see and imitate. His life pretty much has no meaning. He'd be left alone standing while staring into the light until he passes away while standing up. God, this is the darkest video I have ever done in my life, and I don't think I can take it anymore. It's crazy just how much Celes dying affects the overall story, right? Without her, half the shit we do wouldn't be possible. And for that alone, we should stand Celes. Seriously though, it's honestly amazing how the themes of this game can be applied to real life. Despite the horrible circumstances, and despite how grim everything can be, and despite how messed up the world can become, we cannot give up hope. We can persevere when we fight, either being against our inner demons or against oppression. It's so cool how Final Fantasy VI gives you so much hope despite things looking bleak as hell. And it's one of the main reasons I love this game. Sorry about killing all these characters. I swear I'm not Kefka in disguise. Or am I? Seriously though, thank you for watching. Really. I'm Shonk the Hunk, and I will see you when I either talk about the Mario Marathon or when I make another Final Fantasy video. My Sonic Unleashed and Majora's Mask videos are in script hell.